I did this recording and I just, it was like 45 minutes long, and that meant I'm gonna be editing a video for God knows how long. And I got really emotional talking about it, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it again. So, you know, this is when I talk about like what's been going on with me. It's a way of me, talking to you guys and kind of building a relationship. So, good morning. I hope you enjoy your caffeine if you're choosing, and let's get into it. So, how have I been doing? Not so well. Not really great. I've been struggling with OCD. I wanted to, before I get into that, I wanted to say thank you for the people that have been watching. When I was going on those walks, it really encouraged me to keep going, and I've lost 20 pounds. And that's huge. That's huge. If you ever carried around a 20-pound dumbbell, that's really big. I have 25 dumbbells, 25-pound dumbbells, and I use that to build my biceps. I have 30 as well. I usually use 30, but I have a 25 dumbbell, and let me tell you, that's a lot of weight carrying around. So that's a huge thing, and I just want to say thank you to the people that have been watching, because of you, I have lost that weight. Now, I wanted to talk about it just to give you an update about how I've been doing. I have friends that watch me, people that know me in real life, and I don't talk about this stuff just because I want to enjoy the time I'm having with you, but I've been having a hard time for the past 2 days being happy when I wake up. When I wake up, I'm usually anxious and depressed, especially because of my OCD. And to give you an idea of how intense my OCD has been, during one of those walks I was having 3 days ago, I did not record this walk, but I was going up and down a hill, and I was exhausting myself trying to work out and get my body pumping a lot of blood, and I was going up a steep hill with my dog, and I did that for a while, and then I was heading home. Now I have about this walk, I have 5 minutes left maybe until I get to the house, and my head just told me, my OCD, my compulsion, told me that if I don't get to my house before the song I'm listening to ends, my dog is going to die of cancer or something horrible. And I told myself that's not true. Not to get too religious, I'm Catholic, but I just tell God to protect my dog from Satan trying to make a deal. This is gonna make me sound crazy, but so I have moments where my head just tells me, basically, if I don't finish what I'm doing before a song ends, that there's gonna be a consequence. And I hate that, but that's what my brain does. And I ended up sprinting. After I prayed, I was okay for a few seconds, and then I came back full force, and then I just started running. And I ran all the way to the front door, and then I got back to the driveway, and I leaned on the car, and I was in so much pain. I'm 308 pounds now, and that's a lot of weight to be running, and I just exhausted myself, and I had pain in my side for over a day, and it was so painful, and it just sucked. And that's how my OCD is. My OCD does stuff like that. It does a whole lot more than that, but that's just an example of what I'm dealing with. I take medication, I have a psychiatrist, I have a therapist, and all that. But you know, there's times where my OCD just kind of takes over, and I'm convinced that if I don't do this or that, then my dog is gonna die. And it has to do with the religious aspect of my life, and it's just a clusterfuck. I think that people with OCD really struggle with religion just because their mind is like warped, you know, and you know, they believe in these things that aren't true, and things that, you know, if you don't pray or if you don't say the certain thing 100 times, then, you know, there will be a consequence. And for me, it's losing a loved one. I'm really attached to my dog, and I just struggle with myself, struggle with my OCD, and my OCD telling me that my dog is gonna die, or my friend is gonna die, or my family's gonna die, or something like that. So that's just what I deal with. And so like it makes me do things that I wouldn't do, like sprint back home. And for the past 2 days I've been waking up just feeling like shit. And then, you know, fortunately, my OCD hasn't been affecting me for the past 2 days that much, but it's still there, and it's still trying to like tell me things, you know, like, you know, a thought in my head that basically tells me if I don't do this or that, then there's going to be a consequence. And that consequence will never happen. If you deal with that, just remind yourself that that's not real, and you have to resist that compulsion and just be okay. So, and that's what I've been dealing with my OCD. As far as what I've been doing, Diablo 2 Resurrected came out, and that's like a huge thing. That's a huge thing. It's about time that game was remastered, and it's everything I would want and more. A lot of people complain about the faces in the game, and my opinion is valid. That's valid. Like, I get that. When they made Dante look the way they did in the Devil May Cry reboot, that was a big deal for me in a while. I fell in love with him, with that character, but it took me a long time for me to be okay with that. The game itself made me like that character, and the way he looked and the way he acted, they totally changed him completely. Luckily, we got Devil May Cry 5 with the original Dante, and everything was fine there. So, my suggestion to Blizzard is to have face options for the characters that you can play as, and you can have them look, you know, gritty and dark like they intended in the remaster, or make them look more beautiful and pretty. I think that would be fine. I hope they can do that. I get why people were upset about that, but especially with the Amazon, the way she looks, like, people complain about that, and I get that. So I understand that. For me, I like the way they look, so that's not a complaint on my end, but I just wanted to, you know, voice that for others and maybe a solution. So I really enjoy the game. I got through Act 1. It took me about 14 hours, which was great because that reminds me of a good game. Game that doesn't end right away. I'm glad that the game oh, and if you see me do that, you know, like burp or swallow or something like that, that's just because my anxiety messes with my stomach, and I have a lot of acid and stuff like that. So just another thing that I deal with. But anyway, I want to say right off the bat that I'm a huge fan of Diablo 3. I played the living shit out of that game. And one thing that I didn't realize until I went back to the first and second one was the third one kind of got rid of the horror aspect. It had dark fantasy in the game. Diablo 3 had dark fantasy, but it wasn't scary. The first and second one, it's actually scary. And that's coming from someone that doesn't get scared in games often. The only game that I can really think of that scares me is Amnesia or PT. Other games kind of give me a sensation of suspense and thrill, but not like horror. And when I played Diablo 2 and I watched the intro cutscene, it had this energy to it where it was just uncomfortable and creepy and felt like a nightmare. And I like that feeling, and it's good to have that in the game. So as far as the horror aspect, it's there, and it's even more creepy now than it was back when it came out originally, back in the day. It's a fantastic game. I enjoy the combat, I enjoy the graphics. I love the fact that like you can switch from the modern graphical update to the original graphics of the game. I think that's fucking awesome, and I wish more people did that, just to give you an idea of like, you know, what it looked like then and what it looks like now, and the difference and the changes and stuff like that. It's really cool to see a game just with the press of a button you can switch from legacy old graphics to the modern look, and I love that. Resurrected, the only thing that I really complain about is actually something that was in the original as well, which is when you're fighting and stuff like that and you're clicking on enemies and you're just like kicking ass, you are picking up items as well, and going back to town to sell those items and then going back to the fight, the amount of town portals I've bought, the amount of times I've sold things, 2 minutes into the fight, I'm already back to the encampment and I'm selling my stuff, going back to the fight and going back and forth. I found that repetitive, and the only thing I can think of that will fix it is if you're not OCD about it and just like only pick up things that are really fancy and then selling that instead of just like the common items that drop usually. I've gotten some good equipment just playing the game, I haven't died yet. I haven't died in the game yet, which is pretty awesome. I've gotten close, and it's intense. I'm not playing on hardcore, which, if you don't know what that is, hardcore is basically you have one life, and you have to get through the whole game without dying. I don't have a character like that. I know that I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to do that, but that's so far in the future that I'm not really worried about it right now, but I know I'm going to give it a chance. And I want that achievement or that trophy which says you beat the game on hardcore. I definitely want to do that. It's just everything I wanted in a game. I mean, you're just a wanderer that comes up and meets these people in a rogue encampment, and you build a relationship with them and you start helping them, and you're taking care of the demonic entities that are around the encampment, and you're like, it reminds me of like Guts from Berserk or something. You come in and you kind of take care of that stuff, and the town helps you, and you feel like a badass, and I love that. And your goal is to figure out what happened to the original hero in the first game. What happened to him? What's going on? So I'm on Act 2. It took me 14 hours, like I said, to get to Act 2, and that was me I wasn't just grinding to level up. I was just playing the game. I never really had a grind or anything like that. The way they set up the game, basically, like, you'll be a strong enough character to defeat the boss, unless you're really, really good at the game and you know how to go really fast, and then get yourself in a situation where yeah, you're definitely low level, and you probably need to go and kill some stuff and get better equipment. That is a thing, I'm sure, but for me, I didn't have trouble with the whole like leveling up and stuff and being ready for the boss. I forget. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but the Spider Queen, the final boss in Act 1, was really terrifying. That was hard and terrifying, and she was really intimidating. And once I defeated her, I felt like a sense of accomplishment. And when I got to Act 2, I was done for the day, and I just told myself I'm gonna go for it, in a day or two. I'm gonna go back to Diablo 2 and finish Act 2, and give my my all, fighting evil. But I just want to say it's good. It's good time to be alive, good time to be a gamer. And if you're one of those people that like love D&D, or you love like dark fantasy, this game has it all. Right? This is pretty awesome game. And I don't know how it runs on the other consoles, but I have it on PlayStation 5 and it runs great. No drops in frames or anything like that. Of course, you can pick fidelity or performance, and I pick performance on the graphical settings, and I love the smooth frame rate. And again, as far as bugs and stuff, I only had one bug in the game, and I'm sure it's going to be fixed. Near the end of Act 1, I was going through the cathedral, and the doors that lead outside the cathedral weren't opening, and it took me a minute or two to slide my character right in. The animation was just getting stuck for some reason, but that's the only thing that I struggled with. The only bug that I had was that when I was playing, they sent out like 2 or 3 updates for the game while I was playing. So that's a lot for the first day, but they were really trying to make sure everything was fine in the game. So there's a lot of care and love being directed at this game. And I think it's good because with everything that Blizzard has been going through, I think that this is a good time for them to like rehabilitate themselves and really look at themselves and be like, okay, like, are you listening to these people? Okay, how are we going to listen to these people? Because of everything that's been going on with Blizzard and stuff like that, like, things have been, like, really hectic lately. If you haven't been in the loop, basically, there's been, so much, shit going on at Blizzard, and, they're finally listening to us, and they're taking it seriously, and they're trying to fix a lot of stuff. I feel like they have made some mistakes, though. I'll share a little bit of my opinion about that, but basically they have portraits of females replaced with pictures of, portraits of fruit. They replace females with fruit, and I think that's like pretty, with everything going on. I don't really want to say too much just because I don't want people to be triggered, but basically that's not how you solve the problem. There's nothing wrong with being pretty and being attractive looking and a little revealing, in a portrait. Like, that's okay. I'm a woman and I'm proud of it. That should be a good thing. Don't replace it with a bowl of fruit in a portrait. Don't do that. So they've been making changes like that in World of Warcraft, and that really sucks. But as far as I know, in Diablo 2 Resurrected, I haven't witnessed anything like that. I don't know if they censored the game or not. I feel like it's a completely different department of Blizzard, different developers and stuff like that, different team. So what's going on with WoW hasn't really affected Diablo 2 Resurrected as far as I know. And it's also good, that we have the original Diablo 2 still on the online battle.net store. You can buy the original Diablo 2 if you want, or you can get the Resurrected version, which will still have the old graphics option. So nothing has been replaced like they did with Warcraft 3 Reforged, where they took down the original Warcraft 3 and just kept the Reforged, which was a remaster that was really shitty of Warcraft 3. Really shitty. So it's all good news as far as Diablo fans go. And I really hope that they figure out what they're doing with World of Warcraft. Another game that I started playing today was the director's cut version of Death Stranding. Now, Kojima is I look up to him. He's like one of those people that, like, just watching him inspires you, at least for me. And I've been enjoying the game. I only put about 10-20 minutes into Death Stranding Director's Cut, but I had it originally on the PS4, and I played the living crap out of it. I put a lot of hours into it. It's not for everybody, but it's you gotta understand that with games that are coming out lately, it's either a spin of Zelda, a spin of God of War, a spin off of Diablo, or a spin off of Dark Souls. There's no originality these days with video games, and Death Stranding comes in, and it's like a film that is interactive, but not in the sense of Heavy Rain, where it's just a giant cutscene with quick time events. It is actual gameplay, and it's very particular about being on your own and adventuring, delivering items to people across the globe, and taking care of your job as a person that delivers very important things in a world where things have been very grim, things have been very, very dark. In the world of Death Stranding, people have been struggling, and they need medications, and they need to deliver bodies to furnaces, or morgues, if you will. And just there's a lot going on in that game. A lot of death, a lot of acceptance, a lot of afterlife. Dealing with like the afterlife, and dealing with like what it means to die, and the world itself seems like it's falling on itself, and you're just a delivery guy, but you're so much more than that. You walk around from point A to point B, yes, but there's so much more than that. There is a great effort that the main character Chandler just puts into his job. It is a job that he finds, from what I've gathered playing the game as much as I have, he hates the job, but he also loves the job. It's a job he wants to do, and I'm gonna learn a lot about this character and the characters around. The acting is top notch. The voice acting is fantastic. The graphics are fantastic. I mean, everything about the game, head to toe, is fantastic. It's just been very negative in the gaming community, watching people be like, this game is boring, this game is not fun, this is stupid. It's much more than meets the eye. A lot of people give it a hard time, but honestly, it's one of those games that they're doing something different. They're doing something unique, and the next game that comes out that's going to be like that, like Death Stranding, they're going to have improvements. They're going to have more, it's just adapting to a new genre of gaming. Kojima, from what my friend told me, he used to deliver things, and you can say that Kojima has an idea of what that would feel like, what that job would be like. And I just love the fact that, like, being a lone wolf is a big part of Death Stranding. I really like that. Now, there are things also in the game that I like too, about gamers in general. There's a lot of gamers out there that spend a lot of time to themselves. I'm one of those people. I'm very introverted, and I feel like the game was made for me. I feel like that game is a representation, of me. who I am as a person. I have people that care about me. I have people that I love. But I spend a lot of time to myself, and you still have to. Sam Bridges still has to rely on people and make connections and relationships, just like everyone else. But I really like the aspect where you do a lot of things. Majority of your time is by yourself. That's just the kind of person that I am, and I like finally playing a game about a character like that. Another character would be like Link. And so I really enjoy Death Stranding. I really enjoy what the game offers, and it's definitely not for people that are looking for an experience that is going to be a constant I don't know, like a lot of action. It's not really about that. There are intense moments in the game, and it's pretty frequent, but at the same time, it's like, the point of the game is to just be with yourself and help those that are doing the same thing you're doing. And it's a huge part of the game is being positive and leaving what you've done in the world as like leaving improvements, making the job that you're doing, leaving the job better for those that are on the same path. You build bridges with ladders. You use rope, for example, to climb up. You can leave that behind for other people to use, so their travel is faster, easier, better. We don't see any negative feedback coming from other players in this game, only positive feedback. You can only like things, you can't dislike things. There's no negative interaction. It is just a community working together, and I like that. I really think that that's something that I wish people talked about more about the game. I think that's one of the main things about the game. It's just leaving a positive impact, in the world of Death Stranding, leaving a positive impact for other players. I think that that's like the main thing that's trying to be addressed. It's just like the negativity these days, the dividing, all of this fighting, all these riots and stuff like that. It's too much judging and canceling and attacking. It just leave the world that you're in a better state than it was. Instead of burning it, build. Find it in your heart to be good and to make the best out of what you can do in the moment. I really feel like that's one of the main points that Kojima's trying to come across with, is just being positive and being like a big family and not dividing people. And I love the story. It's really well written, and it has like this vibe to it that it's just Kojima all over it. And the love that Kojima has for the people that play his games is genuine. He's hard. He's a hard worker, and he can be, from what I heard, he can be intense. He can be a really intense person. But he does his job well. Nobody's perfect. But again, I love Death Stranding Director's Cut for what it is, what it means, what they added. It's more of the same game, just additions added onto it, and I just think it's beautiful. So I think that Kojima did a great job with that game. So that's what I've been up to. That's what I've been playing. Those are the things that have been on my mind. Good job with the weight loss. I'm saying that to myself. Good job did a good job walking. That's huge, you know. The first time you start losing weight, you lose a lot, and then it goes down to like a pound or two a week. But I'm really proud of myself, and I want to say thank you again. Thank you for the people that supported me and were there. You know, as far as my OCD, I'm just gonna talk to my therapist about the, you know, the thoughts that I have. I'm gonna talk to him about it, you know, and you know, we're gonna get that straightened out. But in the meantime, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm okay. Just been struggling, you know, like you have to remind yourself something very important that my first therapist told me was, it's okay not to be okay. I'm okay, but I'm not perfect. Like, I'm okay and I'm not okay a lot of the times. Like, okay and then I'm not okay in the same day, you know? And I have my ups and downs. I have bipolar and manic depression, you know? Manic depression is bipolar. So I'm either dealing with mania or I'm dealing with a depressive mood swing. You know, and there are things that trigger it, and I just have to be okay with that. I just gotta keep going forward, keep working at what I need to get done. You know, making small improvements in my life that add up to great improvements in general. You know, losing weight is my main goal right now. For people that are wondering, it's my main goal right now is to lose weight. So, and you can tell by my face, and you can definitely see it in my skin. You know, I'm looking a lot healthier. So anyway, that is it. That is what I wanted to share. I got really emotional in the last video that I made, and I'm gonna delete it. But you know, I was just talking about a friend of mine passed away. Her name was Ashley. She passed away a few months ago, and I was dealing with somebody that was giving me a hard time about it. And they were getting like jealous that I was mourning my friend, you know, like a best friend. And I just didn't process it right, and I was talking about things in the last video, and I just started getting overwhelmed. But basically, the story goes is that how I got into Diablo was my friend Matthew gave me not a copy. He let me come over and hung out, and I saw Diablo 2 and we played it for a little bit, and he was really into it at the time. And I wanted to get myself a copy, but I didn't know how. And you know, I'm a kid at this point. You know, I'm in 4th grade. I can't afford video games. And you know, I was mainly just a Mega Man person. Growing up, I would only play Mega Man or Mario or Sonic or something like that, or Animal Crossing. I mean, it was very you know, I wasn't looking for the next new cool thing that everyone's playing. I was just focusing on what I liked. So, you know, I was playing Diablo and I really liked it, but I was never gonna get it. And when I was in 4th grade, when I met Matthew, I also made another friend at my pool. Her name was Ashley, and she passed away in a crash, and I'm sorry for being graphic, but basically she was burned alive in the crash. And the last thing she did when she was dying was tell people to forget her go. From what I've heard, she was burning alive and telling people to go, to not die, trying to save her. It was a really bad crash, and the way the van was set up, it just, you know, burst into flames when they flipped. It's really sad, and I'm friends with her family on Facebook, and you know, like every day they talk about her and how much they miss her and how hard it is, and I haven't really processed it that much just because of what I just explained. And now that I'm spending more time with myself, I've been feeling it, off and on. The fact that she's gone actually gave me a copy of Diablo. I was in the 6th grade, I believe, and she was playing Sims, and we were laughing how crazy that game can get. And I was looking at her computer games, and one of them was Diablo, and she gave it to me. She just said, "You can have this," and I said thanks, and I was so excited. I got home and I played it, and it was my first time installing a game on my own on my computer. It was a big deal. It was a Windows XP, and I was really excited. And I sat down and I started playing it. I got to the butcher, and it scared the living shit out of me. And I started panicking, and I remember dying, and I remember my blood was cold. And I will never forget that feeling. And ever since, I've been a hardcore Diablo 1 fan. And when I was older, when I became an adult, I got my own copy of Diablo 2. And I played it for a little bit, but I just lean more towards Diablo 1. I don't know why, but I like that one a lot. And I think it's because of the experience I had with the Butcher and how immersed I get with that, because it's nostalgic. And so anyway, playing the game, Diablo 2, and I just told myself, like, a part of me is going to do this for Ashley. I'm going to finish Diablo 2. I'm going to finish Diablo 1 as well. But, when I think of Diablo, I think of her. Like, it's just the way it is now. I just think of her. And knowing that she passed away really gets me. I have a few games that remind me of my, friends that have passed. Mega Man X is one. And I've talked about that a few times, but there's a way of it's a way for me to kind of feel them again, playing these games. And I definitely feel Ashley when I really think about it as I play Diablo. And what got me so emotional was telling you guys the story, and I'll tell it again, but to show you how close I was with her. My parents and her parents would get together every weekend, sometimes on school nights, and they would party hard. And let me be honest with you, we should be in bed at this, on school nights and school days and stuff like that. We should be going to bed, but our parents they had their own issues and stuff like that. So we were paired together a lot. And there was a lot of times we were with other kids at her house or my house, or it was just her and I. And I would say I saw her, 4 or 5 times a week. Sometimes less, sometimes more. But I saw her all the time. She was picked on a lot. She was judged by people. Even I remember parents were judgy about her as well, but she was just a sweet girl. And people gave her a hard time, and fuck them, she was a really nice person. And it just goes to show you that she was the way she went out as well. But what I'm trying to get at is that one night it was really late and everybody went home, and I was at her house, and my mom and I were leaving, but we talked her in bed. Her dad passed out and she was by herself, and it just felt weird to just leave. So we got her in bed, talked her in, and she looked at us and she was like, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. You guys are so awesome. I wish you were my mom. And, I remember being like, I don't know, just the amount of love I have for her, And that plays in my fucking head when I think about her passing away. I think about that night. And for me, I didn't really know her as an adult. After high school, I was gone. Like I just focused on myself. I was going through so much, and I was going to this place, right? I can't get into detail about it, but I was going to this place, and she started going to the same place I was going to, and then COVID happened, and I was like, well, when COVID's done, I'm going to go, and I'm going to finally catch up with her. And then that's when she got in a crash. But what I was trying to explain is that I see her as a kid burning, and that's in my psyche, and that's something that I was struggling with, and I didn't process this well, so I'm dealing with that. And this video is already 41 minutes. That's great. I'm gonna be editing for the rest of the night, but anyway, that's what I've been dealing with. I've been dealing with like that as well. There's a lot of things in my head, in my psyche, that I am just spending a lot of time to myself. I'm starting to process things, and I just want to share that person with you. She was remarkable. She was one of the nicest people ever. She was gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful. And I really regret not talking to her after high school. I should have, but the reason why I didn't was basically because like people kept drinking at these parties that she was at, and I wasn't about that. Like, I don't like being around stuff like that. For people that really know me, I don't like being around people drinking and smoking and stuff like that. It makes me uncomfortable, given with what I grew up with, so I avoid that like the plague, and so I didn't really see her that much after high school. And now I regret it. And I wish that I listened to myself and told myself, or I wish I didn't listen to myself, and I wish I spent time with her. Regardless of what would have happened, she was so sweet to me. I remember in high school, she would talk to me every day on the bus, every day, and just vent to me about life and stuff, and the things she was dealing with, and the person she was dating at the time, and just the drama of school and home life and all that stuff, and just sharing with me her life. And the last thing I did with her was just have a one conversation about just life, and the things that she was dealing with. And then I dropped out of high school, and it was over, and I didn't see her anymore. And I was really close to seeing her again, and then that happened. So I'm gonna be Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 for her. Part of me will be doing that for her. So let me know if you have video games that basically remind me of someone that passed away. If you have something like that, I would love to know in the comments. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening, and take care.